There's a certain kind of violence that hides in plain sight, the kind that feeds on shame, silence, in a society that decides some victims matter less than others. In the 1980s, young men were vanishing along Midwestern highways. They were poor. They were queer. Some were sex workers. And for a long time, nobody was in a hurry to find them. Tonight, we're talking about Larry Eyler. Welcome to my channel. If you love your true crime dark, a little messy, and proudly queer, you're in the right place. And while you're here, be a dear. Hit that like and subscribe button, and share it with someone who also lives for the drama. This is LGBT. Let's get back to talking. I'm Nico. Around here, we tell stories about queer lives, the ones that ended in headlines, or never made it that far. Some were victims, some were villains, most were complicated. So, pour a drink, take a breath. Let's get back to talking. Larry Dwayne Eyler was born in 1952 in Crodsford, Indiana. His childhood was frankly a mess. Neglect, emotional instability, a household where abuse was unusual and affection was conditional at best. Eyler struggled academically, socially, and emotionally. By the time he reached adulthood, he was drifting, job to job, city to city, never fully stable. Eyler was gay, and in the 1970s and early 80s Midwest, being openly gay often meant isolation, poverty, and vulnerability. Larry Eyler lived in the margins of gay communities in Indiana and Illinois. Bars, cruising areas, and highway rest stops. And those margins are exactly where he hunted. Between 1982 and 1984, bodies began turning up along highways, fields, and wooded areas in Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Kentucky. The victims were overwhelmingly young men, many identified as gay or bisexual. Several were sex workers. Most were estranged from family or living precariously. They were strangled. Many were stabbed repeatedly. Some showed signs of prolonged torture. And here's the part that stings. Law enforcement agencies were slow to connect the cases. Different jurisdictions, different counties, and victims society didn't prioritize. What if these had been college students? Wealthy white kids? Straight men with nuclear families? This story would have unfolded very differently. Larry Eyler wasn't caught through brilliant detective work. He was caught because he got sloppy, and because one man survived. In August of 1984, Eyler picked up a man named Daniel Bridges. During the encounter, Eyler attempted to strangle him. Bridges fought back, escaped, and reported the attack. Police searched Eyler's car. Inside, they found rope, trash bags, knives, handcuffs. In short, a murder kit. Eyler was arrested and initially charged with attempted murder. But once investigators looked deeper, really looked, they realized they were holding a serial killer. In custody, Larry Eyler confessed to killing 21 men. 21. But here's where it gets complicated. Eyler claimed he didn't act alone. He implicated a wealthy Indiana businessman named Herb Baumeister, a name that would later become infamous in its own right. Eyler alleged that Baumeister participated in some murders, provided locations, shared sadistic sexual fantasies involving strangulation, and at the time, authorities were skeptical. Eyler was already facing life without parole. He had every incentive to talk or lie. But years later, after Baumeister's own crimes came to light, Eyler's statements didn't look so far-fetched. Eyler died in prison in 1994 from complications related to AIDS. Before his death, He reaffirmed his confessions and expressed a kind of hollow remorse. Not fully absolution, not fully denial, somewhere in between. Larry Eyler wasn't a criminal mastermind. He wasn't brilliant. He wasn't invisible. He was enabled. Enabled by jurisdictional chaos, homophobia, the assumption that men who sold sex or lived openly gay lives were disposable. This case is a reminder that serial killers don't just operate because they're violent. They operate because systems fail the same people over and over again. And the men Larry killed, they weren't cautionary tales. They weren't high-risk lifestyles. They were people. When we talk about queer true crime, we can't just focus on the monster. We have to talk about the silence that let him keep going. Larry Eyler is dead, but the conditions that allow him to kill so many men, those didn't die with him. You've been listening to LGBT. Let's get back to talking. I'm Nico, your host, your narrator, your slightly too interested gay friend with a microphone. And every week, we dig into queer lives brushed out of the margins. The victims, the villains, and the beautifully complicated ones that live in between. If you liked tonight's story, go ahead and follow, subscribe, and leave a comment. Or just whisper sweet nothings into the void. I hear everything. Until next time, pour a drink, take a breath. Let's get back to talking.